off and running. Evening, everybody. It is Thursday, the something of March, because I've already forgotten what the date is. 3rd? 4th? Let's find out. 3rd. Got it right the first time. Right, so I've had some technical issues over the last couple of days, and I've been a little bit behind on uploading. Basically, I was stuck in a hotel with non-existent internet, so no thanks whatsoever to the Holiday Inn in San Diego near Nottingham. I just could not get any Wi-Fi whatsoever, so I couldn't upload. I'm a day behind, and I haven't been able to catch up either. So I'm going to do 2 tonight and upload one straight away. So you've had 2 today, and we've done our run of bourbons now. Not that I'm bored of it, but I think it's probably worth moving back to looking at some Scotch, because I've got quite a bit still sitting around. So tonight I'm going to do 2, like I say, and they're going to be from the same island. So we're looking at 2 distilleries on Orkney, so that will probably give you an idea of the 2 that we're going to be doing. Now the first one actually ties in quite nicely with something or somebody that I wanted to give a shout out, who I encountered via the Malt Maniacs Facebook group probably about 2 weeks now, and it's a guy called Joseph Ellis, and I'm going to put a picture of his attractive visage now. Now he is one of the managers, or maybe a manager, or the manager for Hard to Find Whiskies in Birmingham, which is a really good place to go if you're trying to find collectible whiskies. They also purchase whiskies as well, although unfortunately the bastards didn't want to buy the collection that I'm trying to sell for this friend of mine. But that's by the by. I'm not going to make any bones about that. But Joseph works for them. And we kind of got chatting on this Facebook group, and it turns out that he actually also runs a regular whiskey review show. So when I found that out, I was a bit like, I hope I'm not stepping on your toes. He does he's got a YouTube channel called Whiskey Wednesday, and every Wednesday he reviews different whiskies and gives his opinion, and basically does what I do on a weekly basis, rather than me trying to do this every day for a year. For charity, he's doing it just off his own back because he loves the stuff. Now obviously my challenge is trying to do 366 different whiskies from different places, brands, distilleries, products, that sort of thing. Whereas Joe, I don't know if he's called Joe or not, he's Joseph on Facebook, so I'm going to call him Joseph. He can basically do what he wants. So right now, he is just released, because it's Thursday today, and yesterday he did the second of a vertical tasting of Highland Park. So he did the 12-year-old last week, he did the 15-year-old this week, and he's going to work his way through the ages over the next, I think he's got another 3-4 weeks to go. So if you're liking this, and you're interested in this particular whiskey, which, if you've not guessed already, is Highland Park, then go and check out his YouTube channel. I'll put the name up there. It's Whiskey Wednesday. Well worth checking out. He's a really nice guy, and if you like what I'm doing, go and check him out, and subscribe to his and see his reviews, because obviously he'll be looking at other ranges of other whiskies that I'll be doing, hopefully. Right, so Highland Park. Now this is a miniature that's one of the older bottlings in terms of packaging has changed, and the latest packaging for Highland Park looks like this. Quite attractive, but I'm confident that this is going to taste as near as damn it exactly the same to what's around at the moment, simply because Highland Park is one of the most well-regarded whiskies in the world. One of the most popular single malt scotches, known everywhere, and they can't really afford to do much with the flavour of the whiskey. They can't really afford to change it that dramatically, because it is such a big seller and it's so popular. Now it was founded in 1798, and there's a little bit of mystery as to who exactly founded it, but legend has it was a guy called Magnus Jonsson. Now Orkney has quite a big Viking influence, and hence you're going to find Magnus and the Sons and all of this lot in there. Now Magnus Jonsson was a preacher by day, but apparently by night he was an illicit distiller, and he set up the I can't even get this thing open. He set up the distillery just outside a town called Kirkwall. Now the reason it's called Highland Park is not because it's the Highlands of Scotland, it's because it was actually on a little area of land called High Park that differentiated itself to lower lands. So that's where the name comes from, not because it's Highlands of Scotland. Now this is the most northerly distillery in Scotland, not mainland Scotland, which is Old Pulteney and soon to be Wolfburn. This is, of all of Scotland, this is the most northerly. And I will put a map of Orkney and where it is now. Now there is another distillery which we're going to do tomorrow, which I'm going to do in a bit, which is called Scapa, and that's half a mile south of Highland Park. So there's not much in it, but this is officially the most northerly distillery in Scotland. Now it's also quite highly regarded as a good entry level whiskey for non-drinkers to get into. They're one of the few distilleries that still do floor maltings for the barley. So they have their own malting floors, and they cut peat from local fields. And with it being one of the islands in Scotland, it's quite a pungent peat. But they also mix that with heather to turn it into the fuel, which they then set fire to smoke and dry the barley. And that's what gives it this smoky flavour. Now it's nowhere near the intensity of the majority of the Islers, because they then temper it down with some unpeated barley in order to kind of bring that peatiness down. But it gives you an indication of the sort of the island itself. Traditionally there's been a smokiness to it. Hopefully it's on there now, otherwise I'm talking absolute nonsense. And then also, being on an island exposed to the North Sea, it's near Scapa Flow, which I'll get into at the next one. But it's not the biggest island in the world. It's rugged coastline, real classic Scottish rugged coastline. The casks are, when they're maturing, they're breathing in the sea air as well, so it's picking up a lot of those influences. So this is probably, and certainly generally considered, the classic all-round Scotch. There's Macallan, there's Glenmorangie, possibly Balvenie and Glenfiddich as well, and those are like your 5 biggies. Those are your, talk to anybody around the world about Scotch whisky and Scotch single malt and name a single malt for me, it's going to be one of those 5. So a really lovely golden amber colour to it, and there is a smokiness straight away, but it's not intense, and it's a very gentle smokiness. And it's tempered with honey as well. Now it's a standard 40%. Double check, fairly certain it is. Yes, standard 40%. So it's there's no burn there at all. There is a lovely sweet honeyness to it as well, and a little bit of that heather starting to come through. But very, very smooth. But there is a really nice smokiness to it that's not medicinal. It's that would be the ice machine. It's a kind of gentle bonfirey smoke, rather than a medicinal hospital type feel that you can get with the Islers. Yeah, definite honey and a really nice background of smoke. And again, it's a bonfire smoke. It's not a cigarette. It's not a cigarette bitterness smoke. It's bonfire. It's a really nice roaring log fire, or a bonfire outside when you've not got anything manky in it, and you're setting fire to kind of wood and you've cut your hedges down and you're setting fire to them to get rid of it. But there's this lovely honey character to it. There's this lovely deep richness. It's a really, really good balance of soft, really, really soft, gentle caramel, honey, little bit of smoke, the heather's coming through, there's a little bit of sea salt and a little bit of sea air in there as well. Bags of character. I can see why this is so popular. It's relatively reasonably priced as well. I mean, it's only a 12-year-old. It's their entry level. You're looking at about 30 quid. More often than not, it's on deal somewhere at about 25 quid. And as an introduction to Scotch malt whisky, it's fantastic. It's got a little bit of everything. It's got smoothness, it's got character, it's got roundness, it's got depth, it's got smoke, it's got sea salt and things like that, and tiny bit of pepperiness. There's nothing overly complicated about it. There's nothing harsh. There's nothing that's battering you. It would be very, very unusual for somebody not to like this whisky. And if they didn't like this, I don't think there's many other whiskies that you could possibly turn to say, well, give this one a go, you might like this one, because this has got a little bit of everything. It's great stuff. It's absolutely brilliant. It's a beaut, and it's deservedly an all-round classic. Now, I'm not going to be, unless I get absolutely desperate for whiskies, I'm not going to be moving on to the 15 and the 18 and the 21 and all the others that I do. But if you do like the sound of this and you want to know how this compares to all of the others, check out Joseph at Whiskey Wednesday. Go and have a look at his, like I say, it's running as I speak. He's just on the 15-year-old, so he is in the middle of this vertical tasting. Go and check it out and see. It'd be really interesting to see how one compares after the other, and whether it gets better and better and better, or whether it gets better and then starts to tail off, or whether actually the 12-year-old is the top dog. So, beautiful stuff. Oh, the other thing to point out as well is this is quite a large proportion of Famous Grouse blended whiskey as well. It's owned by the same company, Edrington, who also own the Famous Grouse, and a large portion of this goes into the Grouse blend. So if you like your blended whiskies and you like Grouse, and you haven't yet gone into single malts, or you're thinking about where to start, definitely the one to go to. Right, I'm going to have a rinse out of everything, and I shall see you at the next one. Take care.